requiring states like Alabama and Georgia and North Carolina to have to pre-clear any changes to the voting rights laws. So we're here every Tuesday. We call it Truth and Justice Tuesday. We invite you all to continue to come and join us here on the State House steps. As we say to Governor Bentley once again, we will not go back. There are other issues that are affecting our state as it relates to immigration, the voter ID laws, the health care plan, Affordable Care Act, and then we have a special issue down in Biola Battery. And I'm going to ask Zach Carter to come and introduce Ms. Barbara, who's going to give one of those real-life stories as to why we're here each and every Tuesday. Come on, Zach. All right.
Thank you very much. My name is Zach Carter. I am the organizer for Alabama Fisheries Cooperative. We are a multicultural fisher and seafood worker co-op on the Alabama Gulf Coast. We are here today because we want to help urge Congress to fully restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act. In 2004, the Department of Justice had to intervene in our community when Asian Americans suffered voter rights suppression in the city of Biola Battery under the administration of former Mayor Stan Wright. Then the federal investigator had to come back again in 2008. Our co-op also strongly urges Governor Bentley to take advantage of the federal funding to expand Medicaid. Our members are still reeling from the so-called recovery policies of Katrina and BP. They are in dire need of medical coverage expansion, including our co-founder, Barbara Robbins, who is here with us today. She is a breast cancer survivor, and she suffers from diabetes, and she earns less than $11,500. She's also one of the former residents who was forced out from Safe Harbor, which is a 100-home complex that was completed and paid for by FEMA and HUD to provide for Katrina survivors with a promise of, quote, permanent affordable housing. And then the government then gave Safe Harbor to the city of Biola Battery and promised them rent to own and rent by income. This Twilight Zone type tale, it was the best way to introduce it. There was an article written in 2011 on Bridge the Gulf, and it says, quote, "It's uncanny timing. On September 30th, 2011, a federal grand jury indicted Stan Wright, the mayor of Biola Battery, for stealing from a housing development built for Hurricane Katrina survivors. He is now in federal prison for this charge." But the very next day, on October 1st, residents of the same development faced a rent hike, forcing many of them to move out. On that day, the rent on a 3-bedroom house went from $185 to $460 a month. Today, the same grandmother who cares for a minor grandchild and son and a father who's got advanced Alzheimer's has to pay $565 a month. The New Day mayor, Brett Dungan, refuses to appoint a management that would be responsible and cut back on these rent hikes and live up to the city's promise of rent to own and rent by income. So we have with us Barbara Robbins, who is one of the people who was forced out from Safe Harbor. Thank you, Barbara.
All right.
Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Robbins, as Zach Carter said. I am a former Safe Harbor resident. I'm here to speak my voice because I'm not going to return to Safe Harbor, but some of the people that's there living now are afraid to speak out. But I am not. I'm here to say that the justice in Biola Battery is ridiculous. We have families that's been put out of homes because the homes was promised to them after Hurricane Katrina for a low-income family. It's based on your income. So the rent from 2008 to now have tripled. Families now have to move out. Some don't have anywhere to go due to the fact is the rent hike of the houses. The mayor says he can't appoint new workers at the housing, but I know that's not true. It can be done because he's the mayor of Biola Battery. Right. But I am here to say we're here for justice. We are treated unfairly, and I think it's something needs to be done, and it needs to start here and now. Yeah. I'm speaking my voice because I have a loud voice, and some people are, like I say, afraid to speak out because they don't have anywhere to go after they speak out. But like Mr. Carter say, justice should be taken, and justice should be taken now. And I'm asking for each and every one of you to sign our petition that we got going through. We got it on the internet, Facebook, anything that.
Call the mayor.
Call the mayor, and the number is area code 251-824-2171. And we asking for all your prayers and your justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Barbara. It's those real life stories that makes a difference. That we're not just coming down, just talking hypothetically. People are being affected by the laws and the actions of our politicians and governmental leaders. I'm just so thankful that we have from the NAACP, Mr. Woodruff, out of Limestone County with us. If you'll come just for a moment, Mr. Woodruff, and just greet our folks here today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I bring you all greetings from North Alabama, Limestone County, Athens specifically. I'm here in support of the SOS initiative, getting our Governor Bentley, and all of our state officials to support the initiatives that we stand here today rallying for. Health care, affordable health care, especially Medicaid, Medicare, voters' rights, and the immigration. So we all know that this is a state that could desperately afford some affordable health care for all our citizens, and people are dying for the like thereof. So again, to Governor Bentley and all of the state officials, please help us in Alabama to help ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Woodruff, with the NAACP out of Limestone County. Let me just say, I'm Barbara Howard, and I'm representing NAACP out of Tuskegee-Macon County. And I have with me Mr. Willie Patterson, representing the NAACP as well out of Tuskegee-Macon County. But we have another issue as well that we have been dealing with out of Macon County that affects our voting rights. As you know, Victoryland, many of you all know about Victoryland up in Macon County that's been closed for approximately 3 years, saying that gambling is not allowed in the state of Alabama. Well, that's all right if gambling is not allowed. The institution that we started, that people voted on by referendum 10 years ago, allowed for Macon Countyans to earn a living at Victoryland. We not only had the casino there, we also have the dogs that run in Macon County. The people voted as a referendum, passed and said that it was lawful for 10 years in the state of Alabama. So how all of a sudden, once Bob Wiley becomes governor and Luther Strange is in office, we can no longer have the right to earn a living? 2,300 people have been put out of jobs in our county. So we have filed suit against the state of Alabama, Governor Bentley, Luther Strange, the whole pack. And they have thrown it out initially in the state of Alabama, but we are appealing to the federal courts. And so as of this week, we have filed the papers, am I right? And Mr. Patterson represents the 2,300 workers there in Victoryland. So now, at this time, that's just one voting issue. That's why we come on these Truth and Justice Tuesdays at 12 noon to speak to Governor Bentley and to make a statement to our legislators. I'm going to ask Joe Keffer to come, AFL-CIO representative who's just coming to the state, who's working with us in this Medicaid expansion campaign.
Thank you. I am Joe Kefford. I am working with the AFL-CIO here in Alabama. Let me try to put this in perspective, the healthcare expansion thing. Let's suppose that everybody in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, the census is about 205,000 people, decided or had no health insurance, had no coverage. and somebody came along and said, I'm going to insure every person in the city of Montgomery, Alabama. I'm going to provide health insurance coverage for you, and you won't have to pay anything. And then the Governor Bentley, came along and said, no, I don't want to insure people. I'm not going to take that money. Well, the arguments that Governor Bentley is using is, one, that this thing is not going to create jobs. The fact of the matter is that it creates 12,000 jobs. If you insure 200,000 more people, there's going to be 12,000 more jobs for people in the city of Alabama or the state of Alabama. So I'm using Montgomery, but the problem is that the whole state of Alabama, there are 200,000 people that won't get health insurance coverage that could get it. Another argument is well, people that are going to get this they're not working. They're freeloaders. This is something that they'll get for nothing. The fact of the matter is that 150 out of those 200,000 people are actually working people. They're working and they're not getting insurance. What's happening? You have big corporations like Walmart, McDonald's, places like that not only provide inadequate wages for the workers that are there, they provide no health insurance. They have nowhere to turn. Now what happens if people get this health insurance? What it's going to do is keep people out of the emergency rooms. Right now, if you have no health insurance, what happens to you? You end up in the emergency rooms. Who's going to pay for that? The taxpayers are going to pay for that.
Yeah.
The taxpayers pay when somebody comes into the emergency room. If the taxpayers aren't paying, it's the hospitals. A lot of the hospitals in this state are in economic turmoil. Some of them have already closed, some of them are close to closing. This money that's going to come into the state will not only provide jobs, it'll provide economic development, it'll stabilize the hospitals. We have to do something about this. Everybody should be in Selma this coming weekend where we're going to kick off a campaign. That campaign for Medicaid expansion will end on May 31st with 5,000 people here at City Hall to send a message to Governor Bentley. We need Medicare expansion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe Kemper with AFL-CIO.
Joe.
Encouraging us to sign these petitions, and we have the petitions available. And for you to join us at the Bridge Crossing Jubilee this coming weekend, the 7th, 8th, and the 9th. We'll cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge on that Sunday evening, but Joe, you know it won't stop there. The Freedom Riders will leave like they did back in the 60s, headed to Washington, D.C. to say to the Supreme Court that we will not go back. We need the Voting Rights Act amended so that it has the power to protect the vote for our people. You know, this is an election year. June 3rd is the primary in the state of Alabama. And as we leave Selma, we will stop back here on the steps of the state capitol this time on March 9th, March 10th when we leave. And we'll stop at the state capitals in Alabama, in Georgia, that's Atlanta, then South Carolina, Columbia, North Carolina, Raleigh, Richmond, Virginia at state capitol, and then in Washington, D.C. at the Supreme Court. And then we'll get out of our caravans and our buses after that 3-day journey, and we will march from the Supreme Court over to the over to the White House to say to President Obama and all of Congress, we need your help. We need your help in amending the Voting Rights Act. Having said that, we're talking about, once again, Medicaid expansion. We need the petition signed. We're going to be in Selma. I want everybody to take a flyer. As Joe said, we've got a workshop that will take place. We'll have petitions there. We will be enrolling people in the Affordable Care Act at Clinton Chapel AME Zion Church in Selma, Alabama at 615 Green Street on that Friday, the 8th, the 7th, on Friday, starting at 9 o'clock from 9 until 3, and then on Saturday during the Bridge Crossing Jubilee commemoration. People can come to Clinton Chapel AME Zion Church at 615 Green Street to get enrolled in health care coverage. That's affordable coverage, what President Obama has fought so hard to get, and that we have got to make sure that it's making a difference so that everybody, but now, if the governor doesn't expand Medicaid, that means that everybody will not have affordable health coverage. At this time, I'm going to ask Mrs. Callie Greer to come, whose family has been affected by this heinous crime. Thank you, Ms. Callie Greer and family.
Good afternoon. I missed y'all last week. I was at taking some classes, but I told you every Tuesday that you here, that I'm in town. I'm going to be here. I just want to thank God for the opportunity to be here again and speak truth to justice this Tuesday. I have with me my daughter, Tiffany, and my grandson, Ladarius. We want to speak to you something about Affordable Care Act. I had a daughter named Venus that was sick. And she, just like Joe said, was going to the emergency room. She didn't have health care. She was complaining about a lump in her breast. So she went to the emergency room continually for 2 years. And they gave her Loratabs and sent her home. When they diagnosed my daughter with breast cancer, she was in the 4th stage of breast cancer. You could smell her flesh literally rotting. She didn't have health care, so she was just a statistic. So they did a radical mastectomy and put her on chemotherapy. That's Ladarius' mama. My daughter's sister and my daughter, Venus. Venus passed away a year ago, Sunday. I'm kind of emotional about that. This is my daughter, Venus. Because she didn't have health care, she died. It could have been prevented. When she went to the emergency room, she had a little old lump in her breast. When they diagnosed her 2 years later, they did a radical mastectomy, removed half of her body on one side, and put on chemotherapy. The cancer continued to spread. She died from 2 brain tumors in her head because she did not have health care. Now, I have a personal stake in this health care deal. If you got a family member or you got a friend that don't have health care, you have a personal stake in it too. Because these folks are literally dying. See, my daughter died. This is, people, I don't understand why this place is not filled. Because people are literally dying. I want to know where the ministers are in Montgomery, Alabama. I want to know where the congregations are in Montgomery. Everybody ain't working. Because everybody working, then the folks lying about unemployment. So if you ain't working, why you ain't here fighting for yourself? I want to know why you're not here with me. I got a job. I take my lunch break to come down here because I have a personal stake in this. Now, when I leave here, I got to go to the courthouse and fight for custody, me and my daughter for my grandson. Because his mama died because she didn't have health care. Beautiful. Beautiful. Had a wonderful, beautiful life ahead of her. Dead. Because she don't have health care. Because she don't have health care. A human right. You have a right to be healthy. You have a right. You have a right. I'm a taxpayer. I work every day. She works every day. We're supposed to have health care. Now, I said this last week. I'm going to say it again this week. I'm tired of asking folks for stuff that I already paid for.
Amen.
See, I'm tired of asking folks for stuff that I already paid for. I'm tired of folks denying me my rights because I don't look like them. See, I'm just going to tell it like it is. See, I'm on my lunch break. I ain't on nobody's time. This is my time. I'm tired of folks treating me differently because I'm black. Now, because I'm black, you need to talk to Jesus about that.
Amen.
You need to talk to Jesus about that. Pray about that. Christians, all you Christians that are denying me health care, all you doctors, Dr. Bentley, that denying me health care. I'm tired of asking you for stuff that I'm supposed to have anyway. Stuff you got. Stuff that folks look like you already have. I'm tired of my folks living in poverty while you sitting up there fat on the hall. I said that. I'm tired of being treated like it's the 1800s. Look at here, it's 2014.
Come on now.
It's 2014. I no longer am enslaved in the state of Alabama. Now, I pay my taxes. I work every day. I'm a legal citizen. I have my right to vote. So now I tell you, Governor Bentley, and anybody else that will deny me the simple thing is health care. I'm tired of asking now. I ain't gonna lose no more children. I lost Venus because she didn't have health care. She died. I ain't losing no more children. I ain't losing no more family members. I'm not losing any more friends. Or passerbys just because we don't have health insurance.
Okay.
Now, Governor Bentley and your cronies, and you all cannot give us what we already paid for.
All right.
We're going to tell you this. We're going to put you out of office. We're going to ask you out of office. I'm not asking you anymore. We're going to put you out of office. Because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Of being sick and tired. Of being sick and tired of y'all folks and y'all foolishness. Thank you.
We headed to Selma for Bridge Crossing Jubilee.
That's right.
We're headed to Washington. We're
That's
headed to
right.
the Supreme Court to deliver the message not only to Governor Robert Bentley here in the state of Alabama,
That's right.
but we're going to tell the governors of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Richmond, and we're going to get to Washington, D.C. to say
that's
to
right.
the president and those congressional
That's
representatives, we won't go back. We want our voting rights restored.
right.
We want health care expanded, Medicaid
That's right.
expanded, so that everybody can have coverage here in the state of
That's right.
Alabama. SOS stands for Save Ourselves.
That's right. Ain't nobody gonna
Save
do it.
ourselves.
That's right.
Ain't nobody gonna
Ain't
do it for
nobody
us.
gonna
We
do
gonna
it
have to
for
do
us.
it for
That's right.
ourselves.
That's right.
We're asking for justice
That's
in this
right.
democratic country.
That's right.
That's all.
That's
all.
right.
Ms. Wyckoff, will you come at this time and just tell your story about how Governor Bentley's actions are affecting you and your family?
All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to be here. I represent Tallapoosa County. And I'm glad to be here because this is personal to me.
Yes.
This denying people health care has got to stop.
Yes.
Governor Bentley, it got to stop, and it got to stop now.
All right.
The time has come for you to expand Medicaid for all the citizens of this state. You have no right to hold them hostage like that. These people, me, myself, and I have worked all my life. And I got injured on my job, and my job denied me my right to medical attention. They denied me. And when I tried to set up a meeting with them, I later learned that they had fired me. How can you do this?
Okay.
How can you do this?
You out sick.
These people, these cronies
Yes.
have been working fiercely while we've been sleeping
Yes.
in
That's
honesty. Go to our job, do the best that we
All
can,
right.
walk straight while they've been walking crooked.
That's right.
And skiving and doing underhanded justice.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, justice denied
All right.
is not gonna be tolerated here anymore.
That's right.
Amen.
Not gonna be tolerated here anymore. That I have begged my crony senators
All right.
to expand Medicaid here in the state of Alabama. I have begged Governor Bentley. I have written him, written the senators,
Yeah.
written my representatives.
Yeah.
They no longer belong to the stuff that I stand for.
Yes.
So we are going to replace these
Thank
people.
you.
We're
Thank
going
you.
to,
That's
we're
right.
going to replace
That's
these
right.
people because they have no right to deny
That's
anyone medical attention.
That's right.
It's time.
It is a law. It is a law.
It is a law.
And ain't nobody above the law. That go for you too,
All right.
Governor Bentley. No one
right.
above the law. And as for these senators that's standing in the way of progress, they too are going to answer because I know there's some legal justice.
What you say?
Legal justice out here, and those people that have abused their position is going to answer. They're going to answer. Please believe me, they're going to answer to the calling because I'm not through here, and I'm not finished,
That's
and
right.
I will continue.
That's right.
I will continue this message and this fight until Bentley hears me plain and clear and give the people what they deserve
That's
it.
right.
They have earned it. They have worked hard for it. They have sweated. We're not going back. We're not going to be denied. We're going to get it, and we're going to get it soon.
That's right.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No segregation, no segregation, no segregation over me, no more over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. The Freedom Riders for Voting Rights will leave the Bridge Crossing Jubilee on March the 9th, crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where Congressman John Lewis, Amelia Boynton Robinson, Dr. Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, and Jimmy Lee Jackson died. Viola Lewis died for the right to vote. And the Supreme Court in 2014 found it necessary, thought it lawful to gut the Voting Rights Act passed in 1965. No, we won't go back. No, we won't go back. We're going to join the Freedom Ride. Come to the state capitol here in Montgomery, Alabama. Have our petitions with us when we come. Move from the state of Alabama over to the state of Georgia state capitol. Tell their governor we need Medicaid expansion there just like we need Medicaid expansion in Alabama. We need the right to vote in Georgia just like we need the right to vote in Alabama. We're going to move on to Columbia, South Carolina, to their state capital, and say that the people living there need Medicaid expansion. Must have the right to vote protected. We won't go back. We won't go back. We're not going to see another child die because they can't get affordable health care, that they can't go to the doctor. I was just talking to my daughter this morning and I asked her, because I'm a certified application counselor, I can sign folks up for health coverage. But when I found out she lives in Georgia, she got assistance, but her insurance is $500 a month. Who can afford that? But it's because they don't have Medicaid expansion. Governor Bentley, the governor of Georgia, the governor of South Carolina, Dr. William Barber is always working in North Carolina with Mark Mundis, telling the governors we won't go back, our people won't go back. We're going to stop there on the 10th of the 11th. We get to North Carolina. We will then move on to the Supreme Court of our nation, where the justices found it necessary to say, oh, you don't need pre-clearance anymore. Everything's going fine down south. But we know better. We know better. Oh, we got to stay on the battlefield. We will be here every Tuesday. As long as the legislature is in session in the state of Alabama, as long as Governor Bentley sits on Goat Hill, we will come. The NAACP, joined by 32 other organizations under Save Ourselves for Justice and Democracy. We will be back, Governor Bentley. We will be back, legislators in our House and Senate, to tell you that the Voting Rights Amendment must stand, must be restored. To tell you that the people, after the Affordable Care Act has been passed, that it is law, we need Medicaid expanded so that everybody can have Affordable Care Act. So now, the coverage. At this time, I just want to thank everybody for coming. NAACP, AFL-CIO, Limestone County, Tallapoosa County, Biola Battery. Is it a footnote that you need to share with us, Ms. Barbara? Because let me tell you, it's another criminal act.
Yes, it is.
for them to do what they are doing down in Bayou LaBatcha to those people. After they have suffered through a hurricane and survived, and then for them to be allowed and to be given housing, and now for them to be put out of housing, women and children with nowhere to live. Come on now, somebody's got to stand for God. Somebody's got to stand for justice. She has a petition. Zach, thank you for coming and bringing Miss Barbara. Make sure that everybody signs.
Okay.
Take it back to your homes. And with our petition signing, at first we were saying that we needed to just get the voters in the state of Alabama to sign the Medicaid expansion petitions. But let me tell you, people are alarmed all over this nation about what they're doing to God's people here in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, all over the South. So anybody, as long as they're 18 years of age and older, they can sign the petition. So be sure to take a petition back with you. So glad Willie Patterson representing those 2,300 workers who have been put out of jobs at Victorland, standing with them. We are just so thankful to Mayor Ford, Senator Sanders, Mr. Joe Reed, all of those, because you know education is and I wasn't going to touch that Accountability Act here in Alabama. Oh yeah, we're going to save that one for next week when we come back. And we're going to have some educators and our children to tell that story. You will see I'm in Mardi Gras regalia today because it's Fat Tuesday. You know, we celebrate with a few of the folks down in Louisiana and Mobile, Alabama. Yes, I tell you now. But to God be the glory for the great work. We give Him thanks for just keeping us alive and able to be a witness for Him, for peace, for love, for justice, and for freedom. We'll see you back here Truth and Justice Tuesday next week. Right here on St. Amen.